Don't you think as the women's liberation movement goes on that these statistics will change a little bit? Don't you think that like the suicide rate will go down with the men because the pressures are going to be off?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's already gone that way. The rate of suicide, for example, among professional women, particularly women who have the same kinds of jobs as men, is nearly the same. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be equal disaster for both. It should be both of us should be getting better, not worse.
Yes. We also want to support the women's movement in opening options for women, but we think that men need a men's organization to deal with opening options for men.
Yes.
I feel that most men want to be the boss in their marriage. I have a good marriage, but I think it's 60-40%. If
He's got the 60?
yes.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it's fine with me because I think that those are the type of marriages that work most often. If we can argue and talk about things.
Well, why does he get 20% more than you?
Because I feel like he wants the last say.
Yeah.
He wants to be, we can argue and talk about things, decisions, but he has the last word.
Why?
Because he's my husband, and I feel that, well,
Is he smarter than you?
yes. I am not a passive person. I don't feel that. I feel we have a very good marriage, and I do have my say, but if he tells...
When you're going to buy a car, who makes the decision?
My husband.
When you're going to buy a house?
Both of us. But I would feel guilty spending a lot of money, whereas I don't think he would.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it's not that he says I can't. It's just that that's the way that it is.
So he, in other words, he's the one that makes the decision, gives you permission, so to speak.
Yes.
What do you give him permission to do?
Well, I don't think there's anything I give him permission to. But we do have a sort of a silent agreement, and he knows what I don't like, and I know what he doesn't like.
Yeah. Children?
We have 5.
And what you figure that your daughters will enter into similar relationships?
I don't think so. My oldest daughter is very independent. She's very different than I am. She's already told us that she thinks that she may have 3 husbands. Well, this doesn't make me happy.
But would it be okay with you if your daughter entered into a relationship where she had 40 and her husband had 60?
Yes, if that's the way they had worked it out.
I think your situation certainly has a lot of merit. I just want to say that as a psychologist, in many ways, I think I'm more interested at this point anyway in human potential and human growth rather than adjustment. And I think what you're doing is really fine, but I'm wondering, do you feel you pay a price personally for the role that you play?
Well, no, because I think I've adjusted. I've adjusted to being a mother and a wife, and I did have an offer for a job. Well, my husband didn't really want me to.
Sure.
He didn't say no, but he let it be known in things that he said. And
Sure.
so I took a different job working at the school cafeteria because I felt it would be better for him and our marriage and our children.
If you were going to start all over again, would you do it the same way?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm very comfortable in my marriage and the way that I am.
I can respect the choice you've made on how to work out your marriage. I want the option for choosing in my marriage to have a different kind of a relationship. I want more of a partnership, more of a sharing, and not a leaning or a taking care of.
I just was thinking about what that gal said, and I feel like my husband is the most dominant person in my marriage, but he's very upfront about saying that it's my decision. I mean, he wants me to be more, not aggressive, but it's my choice if I want to become more. And I think it was nice when you were explaining how women have to get involved with the choice too. I feel it's my choice, and he feels it's my choice. And at this period of my life right now, I'm kind of in low gear, but hopefully he's very supportive about that. And I think what you said about being invisible, I think a woman eventually, raising 5 children is a really beautiful thing to do, but eventually you have to become
You
not
also feel
invisible.
Sure. I think there's a difference between being dominant and being assertive. I think that a relationship that, to me, for example, if I'm with a passive woman or a woman who tends to agree with me or go along with me, I get bored. I need that stimulation. I need that input, even if I don't like it.
We're out of time.
Talking about what the gal said back there, I would be very frustrated in that kind of a relationship. Don't you think maybe if men would recognize women's strengths and their own weaknesses, that together we'd really make a good team?
I absolutely agree with you. I think that the feminist movement can save a man's life. I have only one negative feeling about the feminist movement, which is the heavy blaming attitude and the labeling of the male as a pig and an exploiter. But the attitude of feminism is wonderful.
I agree, but I think it's the humanist movement. That's what we're after.
Right, I agree with you.
We'd love to see them.
We'll be back in just a moment.
If you would like a written transcript of today's program, send $2.50 in check or money order to Donahue Transcripts, Box 2111, Cincinnati, Ohio 45201. Include the subject or the name of the guest with your request.
This book is titled The New Male, in which psychologist Herb Goldberg suggests that men are really huffing and puffing and trying to live up to a John Wayne mentality that so pervades our culture that we are not only dying earlier, but we are entering into lousy relationships. We aren't helping ourselves to live as fully as we are really capable of living. And that certainly affects the women with whom we may be associated. Thanks to you both. To free men, much continued success to you. And to you for joining us, thank you. Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you, Phil. It was wonderful.
He's led the Consumers Crusade for almost 2 decades, and on our next show, we'll find out what his troubleshooters are up to now when we meet Ralph Nader. Join us.
Promotional fees paid by the following: the all-new Ford LTD for $1979, a new American road car designed to take you across town or across the country in full-size roominess. Test drive the all-new LTD.
True Value hardware stores where quality, selection, and service are why they're #1. True Value is more than just a name, it's their way of doing business.